After two crushing defeats at the hands of the Mexican army in early 1836, the ragtag Texas Army fighting for independence was back on its heels. The battles at the Alamo and Coleto Creek, as well as the massacre at Goliad, had left the Texans in a position of weakness and disarray. Emboldened by the two Mexican victories, Santa Anna embarked on a mission to destroy Texas settlements and quell any further resistance. The same day the Mexican troops left the Alamo after their victory there, Sam Houston arrived in Gonzales and informed the 374 volunteers there that Texas was now an independent republic. He did not yet know of the defeat at the Alamo. Shortly thereafter he learned of the defeat and decided that given the circumstances, retreat was his best strategy. Houston's forces burned the buildings in Gonzales and began the retreat that would undermine Houston's authority and respect of his men. News of Texas' defeat at the Alamo helped increase the numbers of volunteers under Houston's command. Word of Colonel James Fannin's defeat at Coleto Creek on the heels of the defeat at the Alamo made Houston understand that he and his forces were Texas's last and only hope of an independent Texas. By March 28th, Houston's army had retreated 120 miles to Gross's Landing, 15 miles north of San Felipe. Many of Houston's troops were grumbling that their leader was a coward, and some deserted. The retreat continued, however. Two companies refused to retreat further than San Felipe and were assigned to guard the river crossings on the Brazos River. While at San Felipe, the Texans rested, recovered from illness, and began practicing military drills. Also, two cannons referred to as the Twin Sisters arrived from Cincinnati, Ohio. Texas President David Burnett sent Secretary of War Thomas Rusk to Houston's camp to implore him to stay and fight the Mexican army. However, Secretary of State Samuel Carson advised Houston to continue his retreat to the Sabine River, where additional volunteers would likely join him for a counterattack. Meanwhile, Santa Anna made a failed attempt to capture the Texas government in Harrisburg, modern-day Houston. President Burnett and his family escaped in a rowboat to Galveston Island. Santa Anna became convinced that the rebellion was doomed to fail and decided to block Houston's retreat and put an end to the uprising once and for all. Houston's army resumed their march eastward. They arrived at Harrisburg on April 16, 1836. A Mexican courier was captured with locations and plans for all Mexican troops in Texas. From this information, Houston realized that with the element of surprise on his side, he had a chance to defeat Santa Anna's troops stationed nearby. He gave a rousing speech to his troops, exhorting them to remember the Alamo and remember Goliad, and the battle at San Jacinto soon began. The area of the battle was thick oak groves and marshy areas, familiar to the Texans, but foreign to Santa Anna's army. Houston's army arrived at the battle area on April 20th and made camp in a wooded area along the banks of Buffalo Bayou. The area offered good cover and helped hide the full strength of the Texas Army. Santa Anna made a tactical mistake in locating his encampment, which was on a plain, woods on one side and marsh and lake on the other side. The two camps were only about 500 yards apart, and on April 26 there were two small skirmishes of little consequence. During the night, the Mexican troops fortified their camp, creating breastworks out of anything they could find, including saddles and brush. The following morning, April 21, 1836, General Cos arrived with reinforcements, strengthening the Mexican forces to approximately 1,200 to 1,500 men. Once the Texas forces were aligned to Houston's satisfaction, the Twin Sisters artillery advanced through tall grass to a position 200 yards from the Mexican breastworks and fired at 4:30 p.m. to begin the Battle of San Jacinto. After a single volley, the Texans broke ranks and swarmed the enemy positions, yelling, "Remember the Alamo and remember Goliad." The ensuing battle lasted only 18 minutes, with the Mexicans being completely routed. Many Mexican soldiers retreated to Peggy Lake, and Texan riflemen stationed themselves on the bank and slaughtered anything that moved. The Texas soldiers were infuriated by the massacres that took place at the Alamo and Goliad, and were determined to exact revenge then and there. Only 30 Texans died at San Jacinto, compared to 650 Mexican deaths and 300 captured. Historians have dubbed San Jacinto as one of the most one-sided military victories in history. Santa Anna escaped but was captured the next day. While in custody, he signed the Treaties of Velasco, which required that all Mexican troops return to south of the Rio Grande River and that the Rio Grande be recognized as the border between the two countries. All hostilities between Texas, the United States, and Mexico ceased until the Mexican-American War in 1846 to 1848. If you enjoyed this video, give a thumbs up, make a comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. The goal is to monetize the channel. I have enough viewing hours but need more subscriptions to reach my goal. As always, thanks for watching.